Let's welcome back to our radio program a gentleman who's, as we said, was telling us about how his editorial cartooning is, an expression of his political beliefs. And as he responded to someone who posted on his Facebook, I don't know where the posting went. Anyways, say, I'm not a sore loser. I'm a cartoonist. I thrive with a fascist in the White House. Michael DeAtter, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well. Were you surprised by the outcome last week?
Yeah, I was. I was completely surprised. It's funny because a year earlier I said Trump had a good chance, and I was at a cartoon convention, and a cartoonist from the States was willing to bet me $100 that I was wrong. But when it came down to the outcome, I believed the polls. I believed people would do the right thing, and they didn't.
When we spoke last week after the election to Bruce McKinnon, and because the results were quite late in the night before there was a conclusive winner, and of course Hillary didn't give her concession speech until later in the day. How did you approach that night?
Well, I started off with drawing a Trump losing cartoon, but about 8:30 I realized polls were swinging in Trump's favor. It was still early, but I thought I better come up with something else too. So about 8:30 I started working on two drawings at the same time, and by 9:30 I was only working on the Trump wins cartoon. So but by the time the polls closed, as late as it was, I had posted my cartoon.
We've got Michael DeAtter here on the phone line with us, and Michael, the fact that, and I thought Bruce had a great line, and you said, similar sentiments to me in the past, that, comfort, afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. So I had asked Bruce, will this change now that this man is the president-elect? Will it change the way you represent him in cartoon? He says no. What do you say?
Oh, no, of course not. He seems moderate right now with his the interviews he's done, especially with 60 Minutes, and the way he's presented himself. But the reality is, he's got elected with an intolerable platform. So, no, I'm not going to change one iota. I'll cut him a break when he deserves a break, but I don't think this guy's going to get too many breaks.
There's never been a campaign that was more divided, but as you said, every time you drew something inflammatory about Trump during the campaign itself, you seemed to get attention, Trump supporters following you and almost willing to latch onto anything as long as it was something.
Yeah, I did at first. I was criticizing him like he was another candidate, but then when I turned the volume up to 11 and started really taking shots at him, they stopped sharing those cartoons. But at first, it didn't matter what you said, they'd share it. I think a lot of people, this is the irony of this election, is I think a lot of people actually agree with me a lot of the time and still voted for Trump. It's a bizarre election.
Well, I know you said, a year ago, you said he's got a chance, and all through the campaign, through the primaries, I was, I didn't think there was any chance that he would be the candidate. When he became the candidate, that's when I decided, all bets are off. If the party establishment somehow puts him in a role to run for the presidency, who knows what could happen? Because that in itself seemed to be so out there, so unlikely.
Yeah, he just seemed to be bucking the trend at every step. And when I said he had a chance about a year ago, or less than a year ago, I was just going on instinct. I wasn't going on proof. I don't know. There was something about this. There was something different about him as a candidate. And obviously it's all come true. So, but at the end of it, I thought, no, he's not going to win. I was like everybody else. I just thought that people would go in there and vote differently than they did, but obviously they didn't.
Michael DeAtter is here on the line with us. Let's go check out the supermoon to take our mind off of things. That's the orange meteorite crashing. That's Trump, is it?
Yeah, I didn't think I need to put Trump's face on it. Maybe I should have. It probably would have. It might have been a better cartoon had I had Trump screaming, coming down on top of the world. But yeah, I was looking at the pictures being posted on social media of this bright, shiny light in the sky. I mean, some of them were. It was obviously a moon, but some of them looked brilliant. And I thought, what if that's a meteor? You know, it was that simple.
When my assessment last week was, my prediction was that if Trump won, I would be less surprised than Hillary. It turns out I was less surprised than Hillary. But stopping short of actually saying, this guy has a chance. And I understand if Donald Trump was the baseball bat to beat both parties into submission, and people felt that the system was broken. It's almost like an FU kind of move.
Well, yeah, well, the Democrats did put out a candidate that was solidly an establishment candidate. As much as she was different, being a woman, and how exciting was that? But she was also representative of things that were wrong with Washington, even though she wasn't guilty of nearly the things the other side claimed she was guilty of. But, they just unfortunately, they put out the wrong candidate. I always said that Hillary's chance was 2008, and it probably would have worked out better for the Democrats had Hillary been given the chance first and then Obama. If Obama was the candidate now, they would have had probably 16 years of Democratic rule.
Michael DeAtter on the line with us, and I guess in some ways, when I said maybe it wasn't because Hillary was a woman, it was because of the woman that she was. That it wasn't. Maybe a different woman there might have been a different outcome, and I don't know. I only have the perspective as a white male, so I can't really say one way or the other. I didn't vote in this election, so.
Well, I do think that being a woman was a factor too. I mean, I'm not just making it that simple. I mean, obviously. I think the lesson learned from this is that a male candidate can make as many mistakes as allowable, and a female candidate can't make one. I mean, we hold women candidates up to a higher standard, and I think that's where the sexism comes in and the misogyny.
Michael DeAtter. Nora says, are you going to, maybe you could do a whole book just on Trump?
Well, you know what? That's immediately what I thought of the next morning after the dust settled. I thought, you could get a few books out of this. Definitely. I mean, I think every cartoonist in North America is thinking that exact same thing.
So pretty much convinced this will be 4 good years of editorial cartoons?
Well, I don't know if it'll be 4 good years of rule, but it'll be 4 good years of hilarity, not just with me, but with all cartoonists and all online comedy magazines and talk show hosts.
Right. Mark sent an email. Do you draw a character like Trump? Are you sketching based on public perception or your own thoughts, or both?
I kind of do both. I mean, if you do popular perception, you're kind of nailing it as much as drawing him as he really is. Which I think the perception, he's been in the reality television game so long that I think perception is reality. You are getting who he is. I don't think there's much difference. I think when he's home alone, he's Donald Trump still. He's not the persona he has is the persona he is. Tweeting at 3 a.m. in the morning on the toilet, that's Donald Trump.
We've got Michael DeAtter here. Just before we let you go, any? I know you do what's popular or whatever people are talking about. That tends to be what dominates your subject matter. Any pressure to do more Canadian-based cartoons?
Oh yeah, I'm going to get back into the Trump election has eclipsed federal and provincial and national and local politics for a long time. Just because he's won, now that he's won and we have an outcome, I'm definitely going to switch back and forth. It will not be Trump 24/7 like it's been in the last 2 months. Local politics is still king. You know, people care more about potholes and what's going on in council than they really do in the provincial government, and they care more about what's going on provincially than they do federally, and it goes out from there. So, yeah, I'll get back to it. Doing my job, so to speak.
Well, I'll let you get back to it this afternoon. Michael, thanks for taking a few seconds away from your drawing table this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
No worries. Take care, sir.
Bye.
Michael DeAtter, editorial cartoonist, and the whole exchange. This was from a reader. Hi, sir. Fan of your work usually, but I wasn't too impressed with your latest series of cartoons of now President-elect Donald Trump. What are you going to do now? How about a cartoon illustrating how deep and up high the mainstream media ended up getting it in the butt? You know, to even things out, to show that this cartoonist here, this is again a reader to Michael DeAtter, is no sore loser, can actually make light of having been way wrong about the U.S. election. That was the letter Michael had received, and his answer was, no, I'm not a sore loser. I'm a cartoonist. I actually thrive with a fascist in the White House. You think I'm actually bitter? Cartoonists don't get bitter when they lose. They get motivated and ready to draw. And you're going to get 4 more years of cartoons you won't be impressed with. Thanks, Mike.